Assalamu alaikum everyone. A warm welcome to today's webinar. I am Nahida Tasneem. I'll be giving a brief introduction about AMP. AMP stands for Association of Muslim Professionals. It was created in the year 2007 for the development of Muslim community and further empowering Muslims in the field of education, social, political and economical fronts of life. AMP strives to achieve empowerment by channelizing the immense potential of the talented and educated young minds with the rich and enormous knowledge of the experience. It is a single podium where different individuals' scattered efforts are transformed into a big collective and effective force for the renovation of the whole community. Alhamdulillah, AMP has been registered in USA, UK, and Australia as a non-profit organization. The AMP's mission uh, is to benefit the underprivileged community with its mission of impacting lives by 2020, 10 million lives by 2021 and 2030. To know our growth and our achievements and have more insights on our ongoing projects and what we have achieved till now, AMP has several projects going on. The first one is School Development Program. It is AMP's one of the flagship project and it focuses on skill development, teacher training workshops, and parenting workshops. Skill development program for the guidance of students towards the career planning and self-development, and teacher training workshops upgrading the knowledge and skills of teachers through continuous workshops and various programs, and parenting workshop focuses on keeping the parents updated on the latest development in the teaching process. Till now, the school development project has conducted 2,800 plus skill development lectures and has connected to 800 plus schools, through which 281,000 students have been benefited. And additionally, 110 plus teacher training parenting workshops have also been conducted by SDP's project of AMP. The second project is Employment Assistance Cell, through which AMP conducts various job fairs and job drives. Till now, AMP has conducted 360 plus job fairs and job drives, through which 21,000 plus candidates and employees have been benefited. And it has conducted 220 plus employability training programs, and through which 17,000 plus degree students have been benefited. The next project of AMP is scholarship and self-employment. Through this project, AMP has been consistently benefiting the students through higher education, and has also provided scholarship to many orphans and also helped the families for transforming them into self-employed. And next is AMP Resource Center. On AMP, you can find 660 plus career counselors, through which 2,500 students have been benefited, and 50 plus documents are also present in our website, and 1,500 charts have been distributed to various colleges. And next is Awards and Partnership Program. Till now, 380 plus education, that is educationists and academicians have been awarded, and 50 plus partnerships have been 100 plus NGOs have been partnered with AMP. And next, there is an exciting thing coming up in through AMP, that is National Talent Search. We are going to search for the future champion. That is an online competition to assess the competitive spirit and general knowledge of students. It is conducted with the intention of increasing the students' general awareness and competitive spirit, and to encourage the students to be prepared for the future examinations. It is going to be India's largest talent search exam, bigger and better than ever before. Also, about last year, AMP conducted National Talent Search Examination, and its outreach was 60,000 plus students took the exam from 550 cities, connecting 37 plus states and universities to AMP. And this time, AMP is coming with bigger and better plan of National Talent Search, and we are planning to reach 5 lakh plus students and connect 50 plus universities, 1,000 plus institutions, 20K plus schools, and 10K plus professors and campus ambassadors, also 5K plus NGOs. Uh, some of the benefits of this national talent search will be the students, it will help the students to face the competitive tests, prepare them for various examinations, and also get recognized nationally and rewarded with various prize money and e-certificates. Additionally, the students who registered with AMP will also get support through various initiatives like mentors and scholarships, internships, and much more. Quickly, I will give a brief about the categories of students who can participate. Three categories of students can participate. First one are school students of 8th, 9th, and 10th standard. And second is junior college, 11th and 12th students. And finally, senior college students of all UG programs. Students of schools will have question paper in 10 languages, and degree students will only in English. And a quick brief about the syllabus: it will cover the quantitative aptitude, logical reasoning, data interpretation, verbal ability, current affairs, and general knowledge. The main thing is it will be conducted via an app, and the duration of examination will be 90 minutes. And with this second launch of National Talent Search Examination, we wish to provide a platform for interaction between the students and industry experts. We encourage you all to come and be part of this history in making. To know more about NTS 2021, please visit www.ampindia.org/national talent search. Finally, we have new digital initiatives by AMP. Last year, it launched three new initiatives: ICC, the India's Mentor.com, and Amper.com. To ICC, it is a crowdfunding platform to help the zakat seekers and to become zakat donors, and IndiaMentors.com to connect the mentors and mentees on one platform, and AmpowerJobs.com is a job portal free for job seekers. Our reach online is 1,25,000 plus connections of members and professionals through various social media handles, and our on-ground presence is 140 plus active chapters spread across 26 states with 16 countries and 6,000 plus active members. Finally, we invite you to be part of AMP. If you are interested, please visit our website and be our volunteer. Thank you so much.
Jazakallah khair, Nahida. I now invite Mr. Zeba to introduce the speaker to us.
Hello everyone, this is Zeba Shamim, and it's a great pleasure for me to introduce our speaker tonight, Mr. Azad Abdul Karim. Mr. Azad is currently serving as a Senior Director of Mirafra Software Technologies. He is an electronic and telecommunication graduate with more than 25 years of experience in networking, ERP, ESDM, Semiconductor Embedded System Association of India, where he served as Vice President, and automation and mentoring also. Besides that, he had done more than 500 presentation and handled more than 400 clients on ESDM across India. He is also a member of a reputed organization. He also served as tonight Mr. Azad will be talking about opportunities in semiconductor industry and embedded domain. So thank you, sir, for being with us. Over to you, sir.
Jazakallah khair, Sister Zeba. With that, I pass the floor to Mr. Muhammad Azad. You can begin your presentations.
Before I start my presentation, just want to check, do we have only 2 attendees today?
So far, yeah. But we are live streaming on Facebook as well. So
let me make it as a very interesting conversation with them if they are really interested. Faiz Bhai, Mohammed Faiz Akram, can you talk to me? Be interactive with me?
Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, Faiz. What do you do?
Sir, I have a startup actually right now. I'm working as a founder here. Yeah.
In which field do you have your organization?
It's a robotics company, actually, EdTech company. Yeah.
Oh, it's an EdTech company focusing on robotics, is it?
Yeah. We are actually developing a robotics kit. Yeah.
Oh, you're developing a robotics kit for the academic institutions. And,
yes. Exactly.
Okay. Which level do you target? You target students at the engineering college level or at the school levels?
Yeah. Right now we have developed it for the school students, but now we are planning for we are developing for the BTech as well as MTech students also. Yeah.
Okay, good. So, in which city are you in?
New Delhi, sir. New
Delhi, mashallah, very good. I really extend my sincere, appreciation to you and also wish you all the very best. Can I talk to Syed Zakir Bhai here? Syed Zakir?
Assalamu alaikum, sir. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Walaikum salam, Zakir. What do you do, Zakir?
Actually, I'm a lecturer in engineering college in Oman.
You are?
A lecturer in engineering college.
Oh,
Yunus.
wonderful, wonderful. From in Oman, is it?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and which department you belong to?
Electrical, electronics and communication.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's really great. Okay, good, good. I'm very happy to talk to both of you guys. So,
Good.
thanks, Khalil Bhai and Zeba and everybody for the nice introduction and also the good start. Like I'm not new to AMP. I've been with AMP since 2012. And fortunately, I've been one of the speakers, probably maybe the only guy who was a speaker on all the conferences. The sessions arranged by AMP convention, I would say. So I've been fortunate to be part of all the sessions there. I mean, in Bangalore, in Lonavala, or in Mumbai. So I'm not new to AMP family. I'm very closely knitted with the AMP team. Okay, so again, I'm very happy to be part of this session today. I would have really loved to have more participants, really benefit out of this session. I'm just continuing to do it because there is live on Facebook. Any chance to know, Khalil Bhai, how many people are on the Facebook? Yeah, I would like to, but I'm not able to see his name though. Farhan Kazmi.
Farhan, yeah, correct.
Farhan, what do you do, Farhan? Hello, Assalamu alaikum, Farhan.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Farhan, welcome on board. What do you do, Farhan? Could you please give a quick introduction?
I am currently doing MTech biomedical engineering from AMU.
MashaAllah, very good. Biomedical engineering. So what motivated you to join this session today?
So actually my background is electronics. My BTech, actually I am doing, I was passed my BTech in electronics and communication. So some interested, so I will join. I am joined this.
What is your UG degree?
Sir, BTech electronics.
Wonderful, wonderful, mashallah. Welcome, Farhan. I'm happy to see you also. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
So anyhow, let me go into the presentation, but would have been happy if we had more participants. The industry, one of the industries, that has not been affected by the pandemic. We all know that, the pandemic has disturbed many industries, and then, the business has, gone down. It has made an impact, negative impact on many industries actually. But fortunately, the semiconductor and the embedded industry has grown multifold. Like I would say, grown by around close to 20% growth has been seen in this particular industry in the last 1 year since pandemic started. So that is the industry about which we are going to talk today, the semiconductor, the embedded domain. Did the slide change, Farhan?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So one of the most resilient industry are the vertical during this pandemic, which I just mentioned. The market revenue has gone up despite challenges. You must have heard in the last 1 year, like the many industries, there is a short supply of semiconductor, the chips, like the memories or the processors. We have been hearing about it. One of the major industry that got even impacted was actually the automotive industry because of the short supply of the semiconductor IC. In the last 1.5 years also has seen some of the largest mergers and acquisitions. If you look at the semiconductor industry, it has seen some of the biggest acquisitions in the world. Like for example, one of the recent things that happened is AMD buying Xilinx, and then NVIDIA buying ARM. These are some of the two largest acquisitions that happened. Looking at it from the India perspective, many companies like Mirafra is one of the top service industries in this semiconductor domain in the country. We have seen a lot of acquisitions happen internally in India. Like for example, Wipro acquired a company similar to Mirafra, which is called Eximius. Then Tech Mahindra acquired some company. Altran was acquired by Capgemini. Intern, Global Edge, and smaller companies were acquired by Altran. So this industry has seen a lot of mergers and acquisition, and there's a lot of consolidation happening in this industry by the leaders in this industry actually. Okay. Then the world is also moving towards artificial intelligence, and AI processors are the next big thing we are talking about. And today, with some of the clients with whom we are working, we work with clients like the Intels and the Qualcomm, Broadcom, Cisco, and all these companies, very closely work with them. AMD also, Samsung as well. The next big thing that we are talking about is, integrating the artificial intelligence into the processors. That's where we are heading towards. I'm moving on. So you can stop me at any time. So as we have very limited participants, I would like to make it more interactive, and I would be very happy to address some of your questions than, just going into the presentation, blindly. You can always stop me anytime and then put your questions. Just to give you a quick brief about the semiconductor market picture, June 2021, I got the data for June 2021. Amazing, growth we have seen compared to the last year. 2020 June had around 34.5 billion US dollars, whereas June 2021 has seen 44.5 billion. July has seen 45.4, and which is compared to 35.2 in 2020. So for 2021 has seen an average of 17.3% growth year on year. 2020 market was around 464 billion US dollars, and 2021 is expected to touch 522 billion US dollars. The most important point here today, which I would like to stress upon, which I have also put it in bold, is the semiconductor design market in India has crossed 50 billion US dollar in 2020. Let me tell you, if I had to put in a very simple word, struggle, we are really struggling over the last few months to get the right talent in place. We are a 1,000+ people company, and we are struggling to get people with skills, for our semiconductor design services and also for the embedded software. I couldn't explain it with a better word than the word struggle. So the talent, gap, or there are so many engineers we have, but then we don't have the real skilled talent available in the market today, which is really causing a big issue in the industry for the semiconductor as well as the embedded software, shortage of people. I would say, I'm going to talk about it more detail in the coming slides, but just wanted to mention here, the market in India is so good. If you're interested, just to create some kind of an excitement here, I would say a 2-year experienced guy want to get something around 15 lakh salary CTC per month is something, one of the industries that could afford to pay so much for a two-year experienced guy, or a fresher getting around 12 lakhs, CTC. Is semiconductor is one of the industry which could afford to pay such a salary. The other struggle which we have, while we are struggling to get skilled people in the industry today, the other struggle that we are facing, I would say, is how much are we going to pay to the guys? Somebody who is around 4 years experience, 6 years experience, asking for a salary of around 20+ lakhs or 25 to 30 lakhs salary is become a norm here today in this semiconductor domain, actually. So that is the kind of industry we are talking about today, and that is because of the paucity of people, or the skilled people. On one side, we have so much of demand. The other side, we have very dearth of people in the market, which is becoming an advantage for the people who are skilled to demand for whatever they want. And today, we are forced to pay them so much, actually. So that is the kind of industry the semiconductor domain is. So that should really get excite the people who are present here today. Any questions here? Okay, I'll move on. Just to make some few examples of what is driving the growth today in the semiconductor industry. Some of the points that could see, my presentation is going to be very non-technical. Khalil Bhai said it's a technical topic. Yes, it's a technical topic, but I'm going to be very non-technical. That is the way I always present. Even the person who is from a non-technical background, an MBA or a BCom graduate, anybody should be able to understand what I'm trying to communicate here. So I put some interesting examples of what is driving the growth of the industry today. The mobile phones, the notebooks, the servers, the automotive, the smart home, the gamings and the wearables, and the Wi-Fi access points. You must all have realized in the last year and a half, since the pandemic started, working from home and also children attending their schools from their mobile phones or the laptops. Imagine, the kind of growth or the volume of business that has happened, the last 1.5 years for the mobile phones. And, just to give a small example, our housemaid had to buy 2 mobile phones for her 2 daughters, to enable them to, get into their studies. So imagine the volume of mobile phone sales that would have happened, only where, the parents had a mobile phone at home, the children who are studying in classes like 4th standard, 5th standard, we are buying the mobile phones, we are buying them laptops. My daughter who is studying in 7th standard, I would have never thought of buying her a laptop when she was studying her 7th standard, right? But now she has a laptop of her own, which was never thought about at all. Okay, so now she's in 8th standard, so she has her own laptop. Otherwise, mostly we might have a PC at home, which is commonly accessible for everyone. But today, each kid has a separate laptop today. Imagine the number of servers is increasing. Automotive, every car has 20 to 30 minimum. I would say minimum 20 to 30 semiconductor chips inside the car. It is even more. Okay, so. Smart homes, today we are talking about smart homes, the gaming consoles, wearables, just let me take this wearable as an example to discuss a little more, most of us would have bought a fitness band in the last couple of years. I one of my colleagues gifted an interesting fitness band to me last month, today, which we would have not even thought about it, today my fitness band is able to continuously measure my SpO2 levels, my heartbeat, whether I'm taking any breathing exercise in between, whether what is my stress level, did I sleep enough, did I walk enough. So all these things are being measured by something which I'm wearing in my wrist, actually. So that is imagine the number of the fitness bands that would have been sold in this, which is coming out of the wearables in the world in the last year and a half. Okay, particularly, the pandemic has also on one side, made people more fitness conscious as well, so when my friend asked me, Azad, what would be a good gift I could give for your birthday? I said, Vinod, please get me a nice fitness band, who he gifted me a Huawei Fitness Band 6. And today, at the end of the day, I sync up with my app in the mobile and always look at, how has been my heartbeat today. It touched 150. And I'm also very happy that, I do not know how many of you know, resting heart BP of as low as possible, in 50s is good for anybody, like the resting BP. So today I'm able to continuously see how was my health today and did I sleep enough? Okay, and my app is able to tell me, okay, man, you had so much of REM sleep, you had a continuous so much of sleep. Everything is able to measure today. So it's all because of the advancements that we are seeing in the wearable devices. With it's all fully because of the growth of the semiconductor industry, which is able to, with a small gadget, which otherwise, we have to go to a doctor or a hospital to see, how we can measure all these things, But today, everything is in your wrist. That's the kind of growth we have seen. Similarly, if you look at the Wi-Fi today, every household today, I'm living in an apartment with around 100 houses. I would say almost every one of them have to buy a connection, Wi-Fi connection, broadband connection at their home, because their children, their parents, everybody is working from homes, learning from home. So the broadband business has gone so big, and every house today has Wi-Fi enabled connectivity at home. And last but not the least is the memory. Every device should have memory in it. Like the memory sale has gone so high. So that is the kind of industry today we are talking about. So semiconductor is the chip by itself, and then for some people who want to understand a little more about the embedded software, what makes the chip work is the embedded software, actually. Okay, so the chip has been designed to do multiple tasks or some specific tasks. It is the embedded software which makes embedded software or the embedded design, hardware design, which makes all these things work. Okay, so apart from these, let me also tell you, how many of us would have bought new TVs at home, new refrigerators at home, new washing machines at home? I'm talking about the appliances. So everywhere you see there is semiconductor inside all those devices actually. So phenomenal growth in this industry, and with IoT coming up, IoT, the Internet of Things, and the world is getting connected everywhere. So the number of semiconductor requirement, the need is increasing every day. Okay, that is why we see between 2020 and 2021, we just saw in the previous slide, the volume of business that has increased in this particular domain. When there are many industries which has felt that the volume is going down, whereas the semiconductor scene has been very resilient and then seen a huge growth in the last year and a half. Any questions here? Okay, I'll move on to the next slide. It would be good if somebody can just say, acknowledge my questions, yes, no, can I move on, so that I can understand that people are listening to me.
No questions, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, so I'm basically a very interactive speaker. Like it has been very difficult during this pandemic. Whenever I give a presentation to the students or anybody in the industry, I have to make myself, ask these questions to be interactive. So I already said, why is this topic so important in today's context? Is like companies are growing. See, globally, when this pandemic started, the biggest question that was running in the mind of people like me, from all the technology companies, the semiconductor companies, like in all big companies for that matter, one of the biggest questions that was running in their mind was, will we be able to deliver working from home? See, certainly there was a big yes for the software services, like the pure IT and the IT enabled services, whether it can deliver from home. The big answer was yes. But when it came to a question about engineering design services, okay, so I would put myself, in an industry, semiconductor design, in a engineering design services industry, where the big question was, how would this happen? The engineering design services to happen from work from home. Would it be possible in a country like India? And we have not everybody was connected with good bandwidth. Not all the towns were connected. Last year, March 22nd. That is when like the first day of lockdown was announced, and then people put their panic button on, and then people started going to their hometowns, their villages, where and all. People went everywhere. Every part of the country, people started running towards actually. And then what happened was, did everybody have the connectivity? Even some of us did not. Were not able to even use our mobile phones to get connected to the network, because the bandwidth, in the villages weren't so good, because people left Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai to all small towns and small villages actually, because of the panic. But still, one of the industries that really recovered so well and then proved, India, I'm not talking just about the semiconductor industry, but India as a whole, proved that, we are so strong, and then, we were able to connect to the work from all remote locations. Then we proved that India is again a great place for the engineering design services, to work from home, and we delivered. As a matter of fact, I would say at one point of time, the engineering heads or the managers with whom I very closely interact with, they started feeling that the output, though they were all stressed or stretched, they had to stress a lot or stretch a lot, but at one point of time they realized that we are able to deliver much better than what we could have done working from office. So that is the kind of efforts that I should acknowledge to all the engineers who are in this field, the kind of work that they put into make that India is still the best place for the engineering design services, be it work from home or work from office. The attitude was very good. Shortage of skilled workforce, I put it in red actually. So that is the biggest challenge. As I started my conversation today, the biggest struggle that we are going through is the skilled workforce is a major challenge. Okay, let me throw some simple example here today. What happened in this week? Since early this week, the requirements where we are having so many requirements for embedded software engineer with Bluetooth, who has expertise in Bluetooth, who has expertise in WLAN, Wi-Fi, in all these areas. I'm just taking these two examples, okay? But in the last few months, we had to talk to the our engineering heads of the different organizations. Then we had to also talk to the internally in our engineering teams to see how we would be able to meet these requirements. And continuously we started, normally a JD job description looks a little longer. We started compromising or cutting down skills X, Y, Z. We started cutting down all the skills. Finally, we are struggling in the last 1 week to get a very, very good people who are good at just one. We removed all the things. We have only one item in the JD now. We are ready to hire somebody who is very strong in C programming skills. We removed all other items of this JD actually. We are only looking at somebody who could be good at only C programming skills. Somebody is good at, we are ready to hire them actually. But unfortunately, so many people ask us for jobs. They complete engineering, they ask us for jobs. Wherever we go, our relatives, our friends, they always ask, Azad, one of my relative has completed his engineering. Can you help him with a job? One of my relative has, or friends. So many people keep asking for jobs. But when we say, yes, I'm ready, I have so many requirements, please ask your friends, your relatives to send profiles to me. None of them send it actually. We start getting, I'm really afraid of sharing my email ID, for during such occasions. What happens is we start getting email profiles which are not related to what we actually ask. We get all other profiles. But when we ask for something very specific, we don't get it at all. That's very unfortunate. Okay. But people keep asking for jobs. And when those people, when we go and call them and say that, hey man, I have an interesting opportunity for you. We are ready to hire fresh. I'm talking about freshers. I'm not talking about experienced candidates. I'm talking about freshers. We are looking for freshers who could do good C programming, nothing beyond that. Okay. But of course, we want to be very stringent about the C programming skills, what we want. We want them to be good at linked lists, the pointers, the data structures and all those stuff. But people say, when I ask this question, how do you rate yourself on a C programming skill? They say, I will rate myself on 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. But when we start asking questions about pointers, data structures and stuff like that, they say, I know everything except pointers. I know everything about data structure without apart from data structure. Then you say you don't know C at all. That's how I would look at it actually. So that is the attitude of the the people who are passing out today. Unfortunately, but when we reach out to them, known people, for example, they would have approached us for job. But when we say that, hey man, I'm looking for somebody who is very strong in C programming. I already saw your resume having C. Can you update your resume and send it to me? And are you ready for interview? The answer is no. The problem is they really don't have that skill very in depth actually. That's the problem. Shall I move on to the next slide?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Any questions here?
Yes. You talk about the skills, right?
Yeah.
Once you to look into the candidate who are appearing for the interview or something. Is there any? It's not just in your company. I'm just asking. Is there any for the entry level they hire they observe the candidates and they themselves provide the skills to those candidates?
Yeah, there is a lot of requirements across the industry, not just in my company. But see, for example, I told you, I talked about 2 examples. Okay, WLAN, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth development. 2 examples I'm giving you, very simple. Okay, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So we have removed all the expectations. We only want somebody good at C programming. The training on the other skills, the domain knowledge. Okay, we are ready to train the people on the domain knowledge, but we want people at least to be very strong in C programming. That is a bare minimum. You understand my point? Yeah. So we are ready to train, or we or our clients are ready to train them on the domain knowledge. But the basic, you cannot expect somebody to be hired and trained on a C programming skill, right? That is the ABCD of this business, actually.
Yes.
Yeah. So if anybody has a very strong C programming skills with some of the topics I said, good at data structures, pointers, linked lists, and all this stuff, bitwise, understand memory and all, you can always get in touch with me. Okay, that's important. May I know who asked this question? Who is talking to me?
Syed Zakir.
Zakir. Thanks, Zakir. Thanks for putting this question to me. Yeah, the entire industry is struggling, not just my company, not just we are struggling, everybody is struggling. People are struggling for application. Somebody is asking for Python Django, nobody in the market, struggling. Somebody is asking for Angular, JavaScript, Angular JS, React JS, struggling. We don't have enough people in the market. Or they might be carrying those skills on their resume, but when you really put them onto a test, right, they fail. They don't go in depth. They see one thing. Let me tell you one simple thing here. Actually, if you try to learn something and you want to specifically get into some domain, please go a little in depth. Like we are looking for somebody who has one good skill. If you have that one good skill, you can get in somewhere. But if you put too many things on your resume, but you're not strong in even one good skill, then it's of no use actually for anybody for that matter. Be strong in one good skill, then you are there somewhere. Okay, that's what the people are today looking at actually. So designing semiconductor is something like building a big home. Okay, so I'm just trying to make it very simple, for somebody non-technical to understand. The chip looks so small, right? It's very small. It's tiny, but it is something like building a big house or building a big industry. Where there is a foundation. On top of that, there's a building that is constructed. Civil work goes on, and then people decide how to partition the different rooms in between, and then see where should be the main power supply room. Where will be the how to do the AC ducting, how to do the plumbing work, how to do the electrical work. All these things happen, right? Similarly, when you're constructing a chip, inside the small chip, all this work goes on actually. So somebody does the design, somebody then comes in and does something called as a synthesis, somebody comes and does the physical design. So then somebody comes in to verify things. So that is how, I'm just giving a very simple example of, building a big building actually, okay, where all these people have to come in and work. The foundation has to happen, then somebody does the partition, all these things have to happen, right? Okay, like that. The designing of a chip also is something similar to that. In a very layman language I'm talking about, okay. Moving a little bit, fabless manufacturing, okay. See this, when I say fabless manufacturing, okay, there are many, can somebody answer me if India has a big fab? Today, all these ICs which I'm talking about, like we have the Intel, we have the Qualcomm, we have the Broadcom, we have Cisco, all these big companies are in India. Does India have a fabrication industry in India? Can somebody tell me that question, answer my question?
In fact, I was about to ask this question.
You are about to ask this question. Okay. Unfortunately, if you have been, I asked this question, to, I forgot his name. It's a very famous Congress. He was the secretary to Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. Yeah, he was one of the panelists in one of the discussions in the Mumbai convention of AMP. Sam Petroda. Yeah, Sam Petroda. Thanks for putting it. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, Sam Petroda. So I got up and asked him this question, because he was very much interested in the growth of electronics in our country, along with I think Rajiv Gandhi actually. So I asked this question: when is the dream of India having a fab would happen? That was one question I asked him actually. But still, today we do not have one in India. There is one in Chandigarh, okay, but it is and there is one in Bell also, but they are not the real latest state of the art technology, okay. Where unfortunately, India has proved itself as a good place for the semiconductor design services, but not for the fab. Fab, we do not have one in India, okay. So there are fab is a very costly affair. That's why we do not have in India. But we have proved, as I told before, right? We have proved very well about how we are, in the design services. And today there are so many wonderful and the latest state of the art technology or the new devices are designed and taped out of India. Actually, that goes to the semiconductor for the manufacturing. Okay, semiconductor fab for manufacturing. Actually, when I say fabless manufacturing, see, let's say tomorrow Zakir would like to design a chip, and then he designs it somehow, but he has to go somewhere for fabricating it. So these guys who design it without any fab, they're called the fabless guys, okay? So they have to go and approach the semiconductor fabs to get their, I mean, it's outsourcing, their fabrication to a specialized manufacturer called a semiconductor foundry. They are called foundries. We see a lot of foundries in India. In Coimbatore, I'm from a place called Coimbatore. Coimbatore has large foundries which makes a lot of automotive components. Actually, there's the cylinders for two-wheelers and many industries are there. They are called foundries. They are the mechanical foundries actually. Similarly, there is a foundry for semiconductor design also. Okay. So unfortunately, India does not have, industry, the fab in India actually. Okay. So I hope, I answered your question. I'm moving on to the next slide.
What could be the reason for this?
It's a huge capital intensive. Huge capital involved. However, to my knowledge, the last 20 years, every government coming to power has been talking about we will try, we will do this, we will do that. But it has to be the policies and also the working environment and the resources available in the country has to be friendly for the companies like the Intel or Qualcomm or all these guys. So I have just put a few of the top semiconductor companies, the foundries in the world. TSMC, is the largest company in the world. It's in Taiwan. Samsung. Many of us know Samsung. People from the not from the technical domain or know Samsung only for their appliances. Like we all know that Samsung has a TV, Samsung has washing machine, Samsung has a refrigerator. But not many people know that Samsung is one of the largest semiconductor foundries in the world. Okay, they are number 2. Okay, they always compete very closely with TSMC. I'm talking about December 2020, where I think Samsung was number 2. I do not have the latest numbers there. So Global Foundries in the USA. All of us know about the Intel's biggest competitor. Can somebody tell me who's Intel's biggest competitor?
Can I make a quick comment?
Yeah, please.
This one was actually my friend who used to work in Intel in Oregon. And one of the things that he said about India was the standards for the fab manufacturing is extremely high.
Correct. Absolutely.
I have visited like Stats, Chipak, etc. These companies which make these things in Malaysia, they actually do it for somebody else, not for themselves. So I have visited those, and the clean. What I'm saying is that they are not the actual foundries. I understand. Yeah. What I'm saying is the standard of maintenance is extremely high, and they say that the MNCs don't trust that will happen in India.
Absolutely,
that is one of the reasons that he said. Of course, they can do the investment if they decide. I don't know how much that's true. Probably you can.
That's true. See, even now Intel is investing. See, the last year, as I started talking about it, the last year I've seen there's a short supply of semiconductor chips. Actually, for the medical electronics, for the automotive, for all the industries, there was a short supply of the semiconductors. So that is why now all companies today suddenly have started investing money for increasing their capacity. Okay, but none of them looked at India. None of them looked at India. Okay, as an opportunity here. Okay, so, though I remember, very sad. Probably, see beyond politics. Let me put this comment here. Okay, so at one point of time, Dayanidhi Maran was the IT minister for our country. He had big plans. I met him also personally once. Personally, it was a conference where I had a chance to interact as an audience and then understand, about the dreams. So the semiconductor policy was announced, and then he was driving it to that level where that some company like Intel could probably look at setting up their next foundry in our country. But I think within few months he was removed from his job. Actually, that was the most piteous thing that happened. Okay. Yeah. So somebody like him should be there to drive things. Actually, I'm talking beyond politics. Just the character. I'm talking about the character. He had the drive to do it. Actually. Global Foundries, USA, United Microelectronics Corporation, Taiwan, SMIC, China. These are some of the 5 top semiconductor foundries in the world. Moving on. See, today I talked about a very simple example of a fitness band, right? So which means, if you look at the chips or the ICs that, the processor that we had in before 25 years, today the size of the things are becoming smaller. Today, a fitness band that I'm wearing in my wrist is able to, is able to do so many things. There's a sensor. They are called MEMS, microelectromechanical sensors. They're also again ICs actually, chips actually. So sensors, and then a lot of integration that happens into a single chip that is happening today. See, just to give a quick example, I did a project sometime 12 years back in the similar field of wearable electronics, where we had to design an embedded product for insole pedometers. Today I'm able to know how many steps I'm walking, everything. So this is before 12 years, 13 years. We were trying to have develop this product for a US company, which is a manufacturer of a very special material, on which they wanted to implement the electronics inside their insoles. Actually, they're in a special material. We tried and we were able to make the POC, but however, we were not able to really convert that into a product because of various challenges that we had in terms of the size of the components, and then the nature of the PCBs that we could design before 13 years. But we were able to prove the concept, but we were not able to convert that into a product at that time. But today, as I gave a simple example, my wristband or the fitness band is able to measure N parameters about my health, whether I'm sleeping properly, whether I'm walking properly, did I take a break in between, and every few minutes I can set, due to work, we have to sit continuously. My fitness band alerts me saying that, hey man, you are sitting for a longer duration. Why don't you, get up and walk? That's the kind of development that the electronics has seen, and the integration levels is going so small, right? So today we are talking about 3 nanometer or 2 nanometer chips, that's in the industry today. Okay, so the integration level is going so high. I'm moving on. So what's the time now? I have another few minutes to go. So I'm coming to the very important part of the presentation here. For somebody who is from the electronics background, this will be very interesting to know. But again, I'm not going to take much time, though it was very important, So these are the different, I was talking about the plumbers and the electricians and the, AC ducts and all those guys, right? In constructing a building. So these are the different roles of engineers, okay? RTL design, synthesis and STA, physical design verification, design for test. These are some of the roles, okay, in this field. Something which I give an analogy to the plumbers and the electricians, who make the building functional. Similarly, these guys are the people who design the chip and then bring it to the world, actually. So I already gave a small hint about the kind of salary levels that these people are being paid today in the market, okay? But unfortunately, I see the number of the people from the Muslim community is very, very less in this industry, actually. There are very few people, okay? So I really feel, like that, that we should work towards building more such talents, in this growing industry, where not just for making more money or getting big salaries, packages and all, but to make our presence felt, But on the other side, I also know there are many people in this industry who are the leaders, okay? Who are the leaders in this industry, who have made a mark in big companies like the Intel or the Qualcomm or the Cisco or AMD. They are in the very big leadership positions, actually. But looking at the number of people who have proved to be, proved good for this industry is very, very minimal, actually. So that is a very sorry state of affairs in a big industry like semiconductor, where the representation from the Muslim community is too small, actually. Okay, but beyond the Muslim community, let me also tell that there's a big opportunity for anybody from the electronics background to be in this field. But the thing is, they have to really work hard. And not everybody would get an opportunity unless and until they are studying in an IITs or the NITs or some of the very premier institutes. Everybody have to, for sure, go through another round of investment after they're completing their the BE or ME, to go and do a special training, which would cost from anywhere between 40K to 1.5 lakhs. spent, but I would say I wouldn't say it's an expense. I would say it as an investment. An investment of around 1 lakh to 1.5 lakhs plus the 6 months of time that they're ready to invest. I'm underlining or I'm making it very strong. It's an investment. If somebody is ready to do that investment and be very conscious and confident in this skill. Okay. What I also see is that there are so many people put their money to get themselves into this field, but unfortunately, they really do not put continuous efforts to ensure that they are good in this skill. It is not just a matter of going for the training, but it is also a matter of how you actually, get yourself in-depth knowledge and then be very strong in your fundamentals. See, for all these things, the fundamentals is the digital electronics, okay? And the electronics, the electronics fundamentals have to be very, very good. And the interest levels have to be very high to acquire. These are all driven by a lot of tools, okay? You have to acquire the tool knowledge and be very strong in the tool. And also some of the domains also require good scripting skills. They should be very good at doing that scripting also. All these are very, very important. And, as I have already hinted, the kind of salary levels these guys are being paid in the industry today. A 4 years experienced guy from a very simple, let's say a web development guy or, for example, an application guy who might be getting around 12 to 13 lakhs. This industry is going to pay you 24 to 25 lakhs actually. That's the kind of salaries that today these guys are being paid. Moving to the embedded software, like today, I put some of the skills for which we are looking for people today, actually. So I immediately looked at which are the positions for which I'm looking for people today. I put that as a slide here, actually. But for all these things, we need somebody to be very, very good at C programming skills, actually, or the Python, or see, just for you guys to understand. See, we are very happy using mobile phones. Khalil bhai, do you know which processor is in your mobile phone? Qualcomm, Snapdragon. Hello. Okay, irrespective of that. Okay, so we are very happy using our mobile phone, right? So we are worried when the battery goes down. We are worried when when we use our Wi-Fi connectivity or put the hotspot, the battery drains faster. All these things. So there is a big thousands of people. For one chip to be designed and then for that to be enabled with so many features. Today we look so beautiful. In our mobile cameras, we look so that it makes us look more beautiful than what we really are. Actually, So there is so much of work being done by the software folks actually to make you and me look more beautiful than what we are actually. And then there are features like to check whether your eyes are open when you click, whether you smile. Our mobile phone has a feature to check whether you are smiling when you are taking the picture. Actually, okay. So many things are happening, and we also want to see how to reduce the memory. Let's say I'm giving very simple examples so that anybody can understand. Like I want to take a beautiful video of something, but still I am always concerned or worried about how much memory it is going to occupy. I want to take a lot of pictures. I'm worried about how much memory it's going to occupy. So there are thousands of engineers sitting in Hyderabad and Bangalore. I'm talking about a company called Qualcomm, with whom we work very closely. Thousands of guys sitting in Bangalore and Hyderabad worried about all our worries. How to make this work with less memory, how to reduce the battery power consumption, how to make it more, better resolution or, a better picture, more megapixels. We have started using mobile phones with cameras, less than 1 megapixel, 2 megapixel. Today we are talking about 128 megapixel and big numbers, but still we want our dil mange more always. We always want to be better, dil mange more. Okay, so these people sitting in these companies are thinking, what does Azad want more? What does Khalil want more in technology to be a good, to make them happy? So these guys think, what makes the consumer happy? What makes my customer happy? And they break their head. They do a lot of work. Thousands of people are working to just make that camera work so beautifully for you. They develop the software. They develop the Android. They make it work on the Android. And then they see that the power consumption is low. The memory is not utilized more. What happens when a call comes in? How do I make the video 4K? Now we are all very much happy about the 4K video. A lot of things, the high definition pictures, high definition videos, all these things are coming. So these people are sitting night and day working towards making all their customers and the consumers happy. That is why today we are so happy using a mobile phone. But if you look at what is going on inside, by these cases, what is that they do? There's tremendous hard work and hard work that goes into make these devices work so beautifully, actually, for which we need thousands of people. So I have put the list here, list of engineers, list of roles here. I have put all these are my requirements in hand. Today I need all these people. Okay. Let me move on to the next slide. First, beyond the technical skills, I also wanted to be very specifically putting this slide. Okay, beyond the technical skills, today we are also struggling to see people with good attitude. I will give some examples of why I said this. Recently, I shared a requirement with one of in a group where there are many college professors. Okay, in which I mean that is a group that I run, and I have maybe 20 plus college professors who are in that group. I started sharing all these requirements to them because we started looking at freshers. So my request to them was to give some freshers, passed out of their college, and to see help them. I am trying to help them, actually. Okay, you will not believe I have received so many resumes without any mail subject, without no text inside the body of the mail, nothing. All that these guys did was from their mobile phone, attach, put the mail ID, send. That's all. Nothing beyond that. Is this a way that somebody who has completed their engineering to send a mail to someone for applying for a position and an opportunity? Though I have mentioned in my message that if you're applying for this position, you put this job code. Nothing was done. All that these guys, as soon as they saw the mail or the WhatsApp communication from their professor, was put my mail ID in it, put my mail ID and attach their resume, and then just click on that send. No subject line. No text in the body of the mail, nothing. But then after that, I still wanted to help them. I sent a mail saying that you sent a mail with who you are. From where did you get my mail ID? Why did you share your profile? I gave the hints. One guy put who you are, colon, his name. Where did he get my mail? My professor sent in WhatsApp. This is how he replied to my mail, actually. I'm really feeling sorry about it, actually. The kind of attitude or, the poor... what is the use of becoming an engineer if you do not know how to send a mail? Then I started talking to the professors. Is this what you guys have taught them, how to send a mail, how to behave? Then they said, in the last 1.5 years, we could not do that, do this. They came with their own reasons. But unfortunately, overall, the attitude was so bad. Sorry for being so harsh here, but I'm talking the reality, okay? Communication skills, very poor communication skills. The reason why most of them were not ready to send a mail with the body of the mail or a subject line was because they do not know good English. That was the reason why they were not able to send a mail, actually. Poor written communication skills, no team skills, no presentation skills, problem solving skills. All these are very, very... See, I'll tell you last point here, and then before I close. Many of my candidates have been rejected by my client, okay, for one small reason, that they do not have problem solving skills. See, they give some very simple logic to solve, okay, problem to solve, not even though they have tested their programming skills, everything, they would not have found them to be really great about writing the syntax and stuff like that, but still they want to help them. Okay, they give them some simple problems to solve, but they do not know how to solve the problem. Because the people feel that if this guy is able to solve this problem, he will be able to deliver things properly. He will have a better understanding of things. He will have logical thinking, and then we can train him fast. But unfortunately, many profiles get rejected because of problem solving skills very, very poor. I put all these things because we are facing all these difficulties today with not only with the freshers, but also with some experienced candidates also. Somehow they would have got a job somewhere, but when they are trying to shift, they should have all these, whatever I have listed here is very, very important, actually. If you do not have these skills, very, very difficult. Okay. Moving on. So that's the last slide, Khalil Bhai. So I'm done with the presentation.
Thank you very much, Azad Bhai. Very interesting, very practical suggestions and advice. And let's see if the participants have any questions. We have 5 of them now. Couple of them have not introduced themselves. Maybe they can.
Arshad, I see a new name, Arshad here actually.
Yeah.
Sir?
Arshad, unmute yourself and you can.
Arshad, could you please introduce yourself?
Sir, my name is Mohammad Ashad, sir. I am from
Yes.
Chennai. I am doing Bachelor of Engineering in Panimalar Engineering College, sir. I am from Electronics and Communication
In which?
background.
Oh, wonderful. Which year are you studying?
I am currently pursuing 3rd year, sir.
3rd year. Okay, very good, very good. So when did you join this call?
No, sir, I have just joined out 8:35 or 8:40, sir.
Oh, 8:40 you joined. So did you find this session interesting?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready to get that 12 lakh salary?
Sure, sir.
Sure. But why are
Yes,
you,
sir.
there was a kind of a, you laugh and the smile and everything is, you have to get it, man. So you have to work hard. You can do
Sure,
it.
sir.
You can do it.
I'll
Yeah.
do my best, sir.
Very good. Very good. I'm happy
Yes,
to hear
sir.
that. Okay.
Thank you.
You have any questions? You have any questions for me?
No, sir.
You should have a lot of questions, Arshad, actually. Anyhow,
Okay.
you can send me a message anytime and then probably
Okay.
I'll be happy to help you also. Okay. I saw somebody by name Mercy, but before I talked to her, she left. She's back. Jennifer Mercy.
But she's around. She's around. Yeah.
Yeah, she's back. Yeah.
Please unmute yourself.
Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer.
You have to unmute yourself, Jennifer.
Hello, Jennifer.
Probably some.
Jennifer, show some mercy. Jennifer, show some mercy and unmute yourself. Jennifer Mercy, Xavier Kennedy. Okay.
Then,
Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I am doing awesome here. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, sir.
Yeah,
Sir,
Jennifer, quickly introduce
I was
yourself.
a bit late because I was having some other meeting in the college. So I just heard your, the basic skill that we need to go to a company or to any internship. So it was very much useful for me. And
Which college? Are you a student or a lecturer?
I'm a student only, sir. Student only.
Okay.
I'm studying in VIT Vellore Institute of Technology.
Wonderful. Which year are you studying? What are you studying?
I'm pursuing 2nd year, and my department is ECE, Electronics and Communication Engineering.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so you're part of Sense. It's called Sense. Your department is called Sense.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You're part of Sense. Okay. VIT is a good was a good customer to me, and I have a lot of people who are known to me there actually.
Can I ask you a question, Jennifer? Where did you get the information about our talk?
About this call?
About this.
No,
yeah,
about this webinar. How did you come to know about this webinar?
Frankly speaking, I got from my father. He just sent that he was getting some webinars for him. So he just said it might be very much useful, and that is how I got it. It was was a post actually.
Oh, wonderful. Where are you from, Jennifer, by the way?
I am from Chennai, Tamil Nadu.
Oh, you're from Chennai. Okay. Nice to know you, Jennifer. I hope the last few minutes you joined was useful to you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I was wondering because I shared with CEG students. We have our own group, but yeah, curious. But there must be some connection there.
Yeah, very good. I'm really happy for you. Okay, any questions
So
you have, Jennifer?
we have a group of almost 1,000 students on Telegram. I'm an alumni of that. So a few alumni have formed that to help the students.
Okay, good. Okay. Okay,
Who
so
else? Vaseem?
Jennifer, any questions from your side?
No, sir. Not much. I guess.
Okay. So Farhan, any question, Farhan?
Yes, sir. Have you done some work in medical area like that? There are so many sensors we used in medical area today now. So, sir, like that, EEG, ECG, and EMG, there are many sensors which work on it. So, sir, I'm asking that have you done some work on medical health?
See, it need not necessarily be me doing it, but there is a lot of work that is being done. I have done it in the past, as I told you, right? Today I gave a very simple example which anybody could understand is a fitness band.
Yes, sir.
So though fitness band is coming under the wearable electronics domain, but a fitness band I talked about measures all your heartbeat rate, your oxygen levels, your stress levels, your whether you're doing breathing exercise, how much are you sleeping, everything related to your health.
Yes,
so
sir.
we could also put this wearable electronics inside under the medical gadgets also. But there are if you have a specific question, you ask me.
Sir, I'm asking about a specific device which made by you in medical.
No, I have not made anything in medical.
Okay, sir. So there are more technology which used in medical areas like that IoT, information or Internet of Things, which are more helpful for health purpose.
What is your question here, Farhan?
Sir, my question is over.
Okay, you are from biomedical background, right? So you're asking about okay, I understand now. Yeah, see, today if you see, for example, if the world has changed, if the doctors, the way they treat the patients have changed in the last 25-30 years, it is all because of electronics engineers. I'm so proud about it, actually. I need not have designed that electronics, but the chip we designed goes into the electronics. Okay. Today, I also already talked about it. Like the medical field is one of the field which saw a big short supply of semiconductors in the last year. Okay, so whether I designed the electronics for the medical or not, but the chips that we design are going into the electronics, actually, the medical electronics. The last 30 years particularly have seen the way the doctors treat the patients, right? The way we live, the way the diagnostics is being done. Everything has changed. You get into just let me give a simple example. You go inside an operation theater.
Yes, sir.
Not as a patient, okay, but go and see inside an operation theater. Except the doctor and the nurses there, everything is electronics.
Yes, sir.
So that is the beauty of electronics, the growth that it has happened. A very simple example I'm giving. Go inside the operation theater. Go inside, the diagnostics room. You see the advancements that has happened in the X-ray or the kind of the MRI scans and all. Everything is electronics.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you should be a very proud person that you are a combination of electronics and biomedical. That's an excellent scope for you.
Thanks.
Wasim has a question.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam, Wasim. Yeah.
I am a non-engineering background person, and I'm volunteering for AMP as a ESC coordinator from Jaipur. It was very informative session, Azad bhai, and I really enjoyed throughout the session, though I joined the call a little bit late. I have one question as how can one look as a semiconductor industry as a business opportunity? Can you please, give some insight on this as how one can look as a business opportunity in semiconductor industry?
See, there is a huge, for example, LED comes under this, okay?
Okay.
The LED, what you see, LED,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. LEDs, okay? For so all these things, okay? Or see, you can be you can design a chip, You can design an embedded systems using a chip. You can sell a chip. You can sell an embedded system.
Okay.
Say, for example, if you are selling a mobile phone, you are in the semiconductor. You are in the
Right.
you are selling something, you know, which has a semiconductor inside it. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Except today, I would say today, except vegetables. Yeah, maybe I do not know. In future, we'll also have embedded
Yeah.
chips inside the vegetables. Okay.
Right.
But you know, except that everything you sell today has some electronics inside.
Very true. Very true.
Okay, so if you think of doing a business, maybe today there are a lot of people, non-technical people. You know, if you go to Delhi for that matter, Delhi, you take the best example I could use Delhi. Okay, in South India, people want to be technical to sell technical things. Okay, that is how people look here in South India. Whereas in Delhi, I have seen Delhi and also a part of the Gujarat and the Mumbai. You know, there are many people who are into electronics business. I am answering directly a question, okay? Business, okay? Who are non-technical people. They are called traders.
Right.
They are called traders. So you can be a trader.
Right.
You have some good contact in China, Taiwan, there. Start importing things, okay? And start selling it.
Yeah, right.
I would say more than 50% of the people in Delhi, Gujarat and Mumbai are into electronics business. I'm again repeating the word business, okay? Who are non-technical people. And you could be one of them. You could be one of them.
Right. Thank you. Thank you.
I think I answered your question.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sir,
thanks,
sir, my name is Mohammed Arshid, sir. Now I have a doubt, sir.
Yeah, I'm very happy you have a doubt.
Sir, I have joined the session a pretty late, sir. I'm pursuing third year ECE, sir. In what perspective I should increase my knowledge, sir, for going into a semiconductor industry, sir?
You have to be very strong in digital electronics first.
Okay, sir.
Then you will be starting to learn about FPGAs in this year, I think. VLSI. You have a subject called VLSI coming up in third year.
Yes, sir. Next semester I am having, sir.
You are having it. In that subject, you have to learn properly.
Okay, sir.
And then you have to understand something like, you know, you will start learning about VHDL, Verilog. These are some of the... No, I think along with VLSI, you will learn VHDL and Verilog, okay?
Okay, sir.
I am not very much in touch with the syllabus now. But again, it may be in third year or fourth year. You have to be very strong at that, okay? So I wouldn't say Panimalar College may not attract the companies which I am talking about for a campus placement, but you have to spend some time and money on skilling yourself on some of the areas which I mentioned, like the RTL design or the physical design or the DFT or design verification. So you have to go and take a training somewhere. So I don't want to hide anything. Okay, I wanted to be very practical, give you practical inputs to you guys so that you go and do it. It is not hey, you finish and you get it. No, not at all possible. Whereas it is possible for the embedded software guys. If they are very strong in some of the programming language, they can get into it. But if you want to get into the real semiconductor design, you have to invest. I'm telling you, don't think as spending. You think as investing. You want to make more money, right? Then you have to invest somewhere. That investment of time and money is important for you to really capitalize on this industry's opportunities. So for which, as a student, you have to be very good at some of the subjects, very, very important, digital electronics, your fundamentals of electronics, how our transistors work, how this works. I see many students, sorry, Arshid, don't mistake me. If I ask you to do design a UV characteristics of some thing, many people say, sir, I studied in first year, sir. I studied in second year, sir. But you have to answer that question. But you can many students I have seen have that attitude. If you ask something, they say, can you draw this characteristics of BJT, FET, that is, immediately they say, sir, I studied this in first year, sir, second year, sir. That is how the answers will come. But that is the fundamentals of ABCD of semiconductor. Arshad, Purnida.
Yes, sir.
You have to be strong in your fundamentals.
Yes, sir. Understand it.
You have to be strong in your fundamentals. I'm very happy that you asked this question.
Somewhat I'm strong now. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any more questions from anybody?
No, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thanks. I would have really loved, I really loved doing the session, but however, it would have been really great if there were more participants, attendees today.
We couldn't get the numbers from Facebook, although our group has about 50,000 members. So the person who is supposed to be in charge of Facebook, she was asked to stay back. She's in a digital marketing in some government agency. So she
Risha.
was.
So I'm saying the chat. Risha will be able to tell you the number for it. But anyhow, I always wish that the reason is I do not know about other speakers, but I do a lot of homework when I give a presentation, and when I get ready, I do it. I wish there are more people who benefit out of it. That's the only objective. It is not to say to the people that thousands of people participated in my session, but it is to reach more number of people. Actually, that is the intention.
No, actually, the number of persons reached is always very high because of what has happened is this is one thing which I am not happy about Facebook streaming live, because what is happening is the numbers here are going down and there they are going up. One. Second is we also have a YouTube channel. So students somehow feel that, they can watch whenever they want. Probably some of them are going to get reviews from their friends who have attended, and then if they will decide whether they want to attend. It's the same thing as I learned this in the 3rd semester, therefore don't ask me in the 7th semester. So, but, we all have gone through that phase, so I never blame students for that. So if there are no more
maybe
questions,
Khalil bhai, when I was a student, or maybe I don't know how old you are, we did not have internet at all.
I know when I was a student at CEG, we didn't have we had internet, not here but in the US. So when I went to the US, yes, I had email. That was in 1989. But in India, we got
that is the
90. I remember the first browsing center was opened in 97. It was next to the Music Academy. In fact, it was somebody I used to know. So yeah, I remember that.
Okay, so just to conclude, Khalil bhai, if there is a need, okay, and there is a better group of audience arranged, or if it is arranged for a group of audience from a college, if Arshad wants to arrange for his college mates, if Mercy wants to arrange for her college mates, I'm ready to talk.
Yeah, certainly. Actually, we are going to looking at the next level, because right now we have the National Talent Search, which is in November 14th, 21st, 28th. It's open to all students across the country. The 14th is for 8th, 9th, 10th students. 21st is for 11th and 12th. And then 28th is for degree students. And last year we had 3 awards for each category, 30,000, 20,000, 10,000, besides all the smaller awards. This year we are working on a lot more. We are working on in-kind things like giving laptops or something as awards for the top people, giving scholarships for school students. Of course, degree students, they are not looking for scholarships. So still we can consider that if they are in the 1st, 2nd year or something, and those kind of things. And what has happened is during this period, most of us are busy working on that. So this is actually for this year. This is the last webinar. And
anyhow, Khalil bhai, thanks for.
Yeah.
Anyway, Khalil bhai, thanks for arranging this.
We are planning on having the skill training, and we have people who are going to do it on cyber security and data analysis, cloud computing, etc. People from Google, Amazon, and all that kind of people. So if you want to talk about FPGAs, or if you want to talk about DFT and all those things, if you have, or if you
I will not talk about DFTs and FPGAs. I would also not request you to schedule such programs like this, because audience cannot understand anything out of it. Such for 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Okay.
No.
You have to give only.
That's not going to be a 1 or 2 hour program. No, you didn't let me finish. It's not going to be a 1 or 2 hour program. It's going to be a skill training. Either it's going to be a 1-day workshop, or the way I do it for CEG students, my alma mater, I do a lot of things for free. Have a 2-hour session every week, once, for about 6 to 8 weeks, depending on the duration that is required. So those kind of things we plan. So if you know technical people who can do it, fi sabilillah. Of course, for paid, I have a lot of people on my list. For free also, there are people who are willing to do. So if you know somebody, we can schedule that, because there are also many students who cannot afford to pay those kind of money.
Sure. Inshallah, we can plan.
So,
But however, my
inshallah,
request, is, Khalil bhai, just speak out of my heart. Even for this webinar sessions, I think MP should do much better homework to ensure that there are more participants coming and joining live in the. Even if it was, see, we are talking about having 140 chapters across